I am not as strong in sales, right? So I will go on a conversation. We're going to have a friendly conversation, but I'm not going to be that, like people say, like think of like a sales shark, and I'm going to be trying to close every business like it's the end of my life, right? So eventually I'm going to have to probably have somebody, if I'm going to be coaching, consulting, or just getting more business, that somebody's going to have to help me with that. Where I am really good is in the operational side, right? And as I said, like a lot of businesses, when I'm working with them, the majority have questions about how to systematize, how to automate. Do we even want to automate? Because some of business owners just want to automate everything, even though it's not advisable. It's legitimately stupid at times, especially when you're growing or when you don't have the clarity where the business wants to go. And it's like, hey, let's just automate because this is the new word, automation, right? Or AI in this case, when everybody wants to build an AI bot, an AI assistant, or whatever, right?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of Entrepreneurial Truth. On today's podcast, we have Blaž Murald with us, and he's going to share his experience. I am so happy to have you on today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be on.
Awesome. Okay, tell our audience a little bit about who you are and who you serve.
Yes. So my name is Blaž. I'm from Slovenia. And I graduated actually from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point in the U.S. And I was in the military for about 5 years. Then I decided I wanted to go through an entrepreneurial business route. And I pretty much after that, I've been in 6 different industries in 5 to 6 different positions, from a team lead to plant production director to regional ops director for a food delivery company. And my last stint was the COO of a transportation company. Then I decided I'm going to go on my own. And what I do right now is pretty much what I've seen is that many business owners pretty much are visionaries with an amazing idea or service. But what they do struggle most of the time is they want to grow or just remove themselves from the day-to-day operations. And so this is where I come in as a fractional operations partner. I help build these businesses, operations, systems, and teams, and or also run them based on what the business needs. And as a result, pretty much the business owners can grow their business without any stress, fear, or burnout, and lower their time with the business. And that's what I do.
Awesome. And I want to jump into your story a little bit to find out why, okay, with all the iterations, like why did you decide on this specific path?
Yeah, so before I also wanted to be a coach. So I was a leadership and career coach as well in my business journey. But what I missed the most was I want to actually work on stuff, not just advise people and just talk with them. I love building systems, building teams, and actually be involved in building those teams. Because as a coach, what was the most frustrating to me was that I was giving advice, I was helping business owners and other leaders, build their own teams. But the missing part for me was I want to get my hands dirty, pretty much. And and also ever since leaving the military, that was my area of expertise, pretty much, like building systems and leading teams and growing teams so that they can lead themselves pretty much without my input or anything else from me. So I fire myself most of the time.
And let me ask you, right? When being a coach and helping people build, were they actually implementing what you were asking them to or coaching them on? Did you find that there was some disconnect between what you're telling them to do and if they're actually doing it?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You have like clients from all across the spectrum. So some of them were amazing at implementing it. Like you just advise them, coach them into how to change specific things, right? And then, next week or in the next 2 weeks, they would be, okay, yeah, I'm done. This is what's happening. This is what's not. And then some of them just like to talk and just, talk like, and then a month doesn't change, 2 months, it doesn't change. And if you're a certified coach, usually you will not go and tell them specifically, hey, you need to do this and this and this and this, because this is not what coaching kind of is. This is consulting, right? And it kind of, at times, of course, grows frustrating that people are not implementing what you want, because whoever I work with, I see so much potential. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been working with them. That it then just becomes frustrating, right? And one of the reasons why I kind of went into when coaching people, when seeing that in the majority of cases, people are visionaries, specifically, business owners, founders, but they don't usually possess the so kind of like the operational knowledge on how to systematize everything and how to focus on the correct thing or the actual thing that's going to bring them 80% of results with 20% of input, right? So the Pareto rule, 20-80 principle.
Right. And then that 20%, right? So even the clarity, right? How do you now extract that? What do you find is like the best? Because a lot of founders tend to have stuff in their head.
Yeah.
Right. They don't have it on paper. They know how to do the thing or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
But information typically gets stuck. What do you find is the best way to extract that?
It's written and verbal. So one of the things that I do before I work with any business owner is we do an operational audit. So what I do is I send them at the moment, it's 29 questions, and they answer them. And then we go and hop on a call. And then I also ask them about these things, because what I found out was that, as you said, right, it's all in their head. And even before, when they look at the questions, their brain starts to think, oh, I've never thought about this, or, oh, this is only in my head and I don't even understand how to, or don't even know how to type it in. And sometimes what's going to happen as well, right, is that they're just going to flat out refuse to kind of answer a question, or they're going to try and debate. And that's where the conversation part comes in. And I see their results, and then I kind of drill it in, like, what's happening, what is a specific question or a specific thing that they're avoiding, because when you're writing stuff down, you can avoid them easily and just like talk around. And this is what then I'm going to be focusing on specifically, because there's probably a pain point or a bottleneck or something that they don't want to do. And in the majority of cases, we then kind of find 2 or 3 bottlenecks or issues that the founders either are really suffering and or they just don't want to do. Because I had a business owner that just didn't want to do some stuff, and he was the bottleneck. But because he didn't like doing that stuff and he wanted to be the end person, right, to actually say, hey, this is my decision, it took us like a month before we actually were able to press this on that, hey, you have a team of 15 people, they can make their own decisions. But unfortunately, it takes time with some of the business owners.
Yeah. And I mean, getting clear is generally very hard for a person, or even accepting that they're the bottleneck sometimes can be like extremely challenging.
Oh, absolutely. Because it kind of comes from the thought process, right? That usually every business owner is a solopreneur at the beginning.
Right.
And they've been just so inundated with the work and what people like to call hustle, right? I hate that word, to be honest. Like, I don't like when people hustle too much, because that means that they're not doing something right, at least in my opinion.
Right.
But just working from morning till late at night, right? Every day, single day. And then they stumble upon, oh, I need a team. And what most of the business owners usually do, first they hire a VA, and then they hire an operations manager or a salesperson or whoever they need. And then the team just grows, but they're still in the same process and the same mentality, as in, I am a technician. I just need to work, and stuff is gonna just magically solve. But what they don't do is take a step back and actually say, I have a team now. It's a different type of business. I'm not a solopreneur anymore. I am a leader, a manager, that I need to make sure that my people get the necessary resources and my guidance on how to do stuff. Because if you hire right, like, your business can change so drastically with the right people and the right hires, which in a lot of the cases that I've seen is also one of the key things that business owners miss, because they hire based on necessity, not based on
what the business needs.
Yeah.
Yep. You hit the nail on the head right there. And there goes back to that same thing about clarity. If you're not clear about what it is you need or who you need, when you need that person, then you tend to make decisions and hire the wrong people. What are some tools or some tips do you think that they could use to be able to identify who they need to hire?
Yeah. So with every business owner that I talk with, I'm always asking two questions. So first is what are your bottlenecks?
Right.
If you don't know them, then we may have a little bit of a problem. And then the second one is, do you have a client or customer journey? So from when you decide who's your ideal target audience, who's your ideal customer, from marketing, lead gen, sales to fulfillment, and until you offboard them or re-engage them, do you have that? And usually what happens is, and again here, I'm a solopreneur right now, right? I also don't have this stuff completely down. But what happens is, again, it's in our heads and we're like, hey, we're going to do it later. But what that kind of thing does is it crystallizes and clarifies what you need. So let's say I'm an operations guy. I will probably not need an operations manager or something like that because I'm going to be already building my business systems. And if I want to grow to an agency that's going to do $1 million to dollars or euros per year, what's going to happen is I will probably need a salesperson. Somebody is going to be leading my sales team because I know this is kind of like my weakness. I'm not that good at selling, right? And when you have this, what's called customer journey, you can actually pinpoint what are the bottlenecks, what people do you need to hire, and where are you using or in this case, wasting too much of your time. Like just with that, I can pinpoint pretty much your business and we can scale the business later on. Not easily, of course, because nothing is easy, but a lot easier than if everything is in a person's head. And just two more sentences. And based on that, where the bottleneck is, I can then tell you, hey, we need to hire this kind of person, let's say a VA or a lead gen person with specific traits and specific personalities based on what the right person or the best person for that job would be.
I think that's extremely important to know who and when to hire.
Yeah.
If you had to go back in time, right, and speak to the younger version of yourself, what advice would you give yourself and what tool would you give yourself?
The one advice that I would give myself is just start. Don't overthink it. Don't be a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. So, and the best one that one of my coaches gave me was 60% of perfect is good, and just go with it. And this is what I'm working with pretty much right now. And then what tools would I give myself? I would actually hire a coach / mentor. I would be seeking out mentors before. I did have amazing mentors. I didn't even know that some of the people in my life were mentors, but I would be specifically focusing on things that I knew I needed to improve, things I knew I needed in my professional and personal life, and I would just go and find them.
Wow. And when you're speaking to business owners, do you advise them to forecast like 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road in order to get a clearer picture as to what kind of business or where they want their business to go? Or do you find that that's not really that important?
So I always want them to do that. So at least to have a vision so that we know where we want to go, because I'm always I'm a big supporter of long-term goals versus short-term goals, and that the short-term goals need to support long-term goals. In most of the cases, it doesn't happen, especially if you're just focusing on quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, right? But I always want to have that thought in the back of the business owner's mind. Hey, we want to go somewhere. You want to go somewhere in 5 years. So let's say, hey, you want to be just the president or just the owner, getting this nice cash or whatever you want, right? You can be in the Caribbean like for the whole year or something like that, right? And then when we have this vision and that clarity, then we can build the 5-year, let's say, plan. Right? What I never advise them to, and this is what happened, was when I was my last job that I had, was one of the business owners. He was like, I came in when it was a $600K dollar a year company, right? A business. And then he said, in 3 years, I want to get to 10 million. Right? It was not really realistic. No, not even at all. And he said, like, oh, this is my vision, this is my goal, but realistically, we can only do maybe 4. I was like, okay, so then let's focus on 4, not focus on 10, because it doesn't make sense to do that. I still want audacious goals, but still realistic ones. And then when we have that, then when it comes to the operational part, to the business operations and everything else behind this, then we can create a sustainable business and a sustainable system that is actually going to enable us to actually get to there.
Well, and let me ask you, you go in and you assist businesses in terms of their operations, but what made you decide to do it fractionally as opposed to,
just as opposed to kind of coaching and consulting, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
As I said, like, I like to get my hands dirty. That's the one thing that I may actually then later on the line start doing just coaching and consulting. But at the moment, in this time of year that I am, and this business is also kind of new as well, I want to help and get as much practical in the people's business, because this is where kind of like my zone of genius is. Like, I will go in, I will see what needs to be done, and I will implement and execute the operational things that is needed for the business to succeed. And in this year of my life, and in this past years of my life, one of the funniest things was that when just telling people, hey, you should do this, I was becoming antsy, like, and I wanted to do it by myself. So it kind of was like, hey, I will go on the fractional side so far.
Oh, I love that you tapped into that and said that is your zone of genius. And I feel like if more entrepreneurs kind of stuck to their zone of genius, that we would have so many more amazing products, so amazing more businesses in the marketplace that were more visible. But I feel like you kind of get stifled when you're doing everything and not focusing on the things that you're good at, because not every business owner is good at every aspect of the business that they're running.
No, absolutely. So, like, as I told you before, like, what kind of like my weakness or the bad part about my business is, I am not as strong in sales, right? So I will go on a conversation. We're going to have a friendly conversation, but I'm not going to be that, like people say, like, think of like a sales shark, and I'm going to be trying to close every business like it's the end of my life, pretty much, right? So eventually, I'm going to have to probably have somebody, if I'm going to be coaching, consulting, or just getting more business, that somebody's going to have to help me with that. Where I am really good is in the operational side, right? And as I said, like, a lot of businesses, when I'm working with them, the majority have questions about how to systematize, how to automate. Do we even want to automate? Because some of business owners just want to automate everything, even though it's not advisable. It's legitimately stupid at times, especially when you're growing, or when you don't have the clarity where the business wants to go. And it's like, hey, let's just automate because this is the new word, automation, or AI. In this case, when everybody wants to build an AI bot, an AI assistant, or whatever, right? It's like, is it worth it for your business? Because one of the things that I always come back when I was a plant production director, what we were doing is, so we had that was 2017, and when I got there, they were legitimately running the machines that we were running on were the old Soviet ones. So they were like 40 years old, like legitimately from the old Soviet Union. Yeah. And I started the process of actually replacing all of them. Right. So the cost was great. I think it was like 15% of like yearly revenue just went to improving those. But the savings were so gigantic. Yeah, because we knew that we're going to be using those machines for 15 more years. But when we go to business owners, especially solopreneurs or people that are just establishing a business, you don't know what's going to happen even like in 6 months or a year. Or let's say, hey, I want to pivot a business and stuff. And then it doesn't make sense to automate a lot of things unless you're, let's say, taking like 10, 15, they take you 10, 15 hours per week. Then yes, you automate or you delegate it to somebody else. But not before. Not before you exactly know, hey, this is what I want to do in the long term, and this is where the business kind of like stabilizes, and then we can go and automate pretty much all of these things completely.
Yeah, I agree with that, because in our company, Systems and AI, where we implement AI agents into companies, we were realizing that a lot of people that were coming to us to do that weren't ready for that. Right. Yeah. And they didn't even know their business process enough to even have an AI agent do it for them, and we had to break it down to the smallest level to say, hey, listen, first we need a clarity check. Are we the right company for you? Are you there yet? And a lot of people don't know that. They don't know.
Yeah, because I think that one of the things that nowadays there's always this fad, hey, just grow, and just hustle, and everybody wants to get to first the $10,000 per month ballpark, right? And then they want to get to 1 million per year revenue, because kind of like, hey, that's the goal. And in the majority of cases, you see LinkedIn, even YouTube videos, all of that. It's like, hey, if you automate that stuff, it's going to be amazing. The business is going to be running without you. Well, that's not the case. Like,
if you automate garbage, you're going to get garbage out.
Exactly. Garbage in, garbage out. And you have to be really careful on what you actually do and what you automate, because what you may end up doing is wasting 50, 100 hours of your time, and most likely wasting thousands of dollars on automation. And then in the end, you may say, hey, I don't want to do this, or, oh, this is not even working. I need an extra person just to make sure that this automation runs correctly. That's, you foiled it completely. I've seen that happen. And it's, and the other part is that they want to automate a wrong thing. Right. Like what you said. So.
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. I mean, I feel like, you don't want to tell people no, but they don't understand that they don't have clarity in their business, and telling them that is kind of taboo. How do you get around that?
Actually, I have a story about that one. Because when I was working, I was a chief of staff for a career coaching company before I went on my own. And legitimately, I was chief of staff for the CEO. And he said, hey, if this person is not going to do this automation because I want it, I need it to happen, I'm just going to fire him and get a new person. And so, yeah, I forgot which automation it was, but it was stupid, like straight up stupid. We didn't save anything. I think it costed like 5 or 10K that month. It didn't matter at all, to be honest. But how do you get around it? So if you're, and we're talking here probably about business owners, right? If you are a business owner, just go and do a cost benefit analysis. That's the easiest thing to do. How much is it going to cost you? What do you think you're going to save? And then, of course, what the benefits of it are going to be. And or if those benefits are good, if they're only going to be for 1 or 2 months, it's not worth it. Usually, I would say the smell test on this is, if you can automate something within 10 hours and then it saves you, let's say 50 hours in that year or 100 hours, then it's worth it. Right. But if you're breaking even, or even if you know that you will be changing the systems later on, then it's not worth it. So, case in point, when I was head of country operations for a food delivery company, one of the things when I got there, so the company came to Slovenia, and if you know anything about food delivery, is you need so many couriers, like all the time. And our process at the beginning was, it took us 14 days from when the courier expressed interest to when we gave him or her, hey, go and deliver for us. And at the beginning, the only thing that we needed to do was get them delivering for us the same day, because we were growing like, I think 49x like every single month or something like that. It was ridiculous.
Oh.
And that was that was the whole thing. We didn't automate it then, because the automation would be a waste of time at that time, because we just needed more people there. So I worked, and my team worked pretty much nonstop just doing that. When things calmed down and we were able to say, hey, now we don't want to work on that, we slowly started automating step by step. When it actually became that you had, in one day, we were able to put somebody on the streets without our involvement at all. Everything was online and electronic, and we saved, I think, 60 man hours per week just because of that. But it took us slowly. It took us like 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And we did it by stages, not right away. That it has to be perfect. We started 60% of perfect, went 70, 80, 90%, and then went to 95%, because nothing's ever perfect. So everything's going to break at one point or another.
Yeah. I believe that is the best way to do it. You start out with your process, and then slowly, see what you can implement, and then move on to the next step.
Yeah. And focus on one thing. Focus just on one thing. One of the times when you have especially high energy, when you have high energy business owners, they want to do everything, right? Like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. There's 5 different priorities for a single week. Nothing's going to get done. Just focus on one thing, the biggest bottleneck, and then, like you said, go to another one, and then go to another one, and another one. And the results are going to be amazing. So there was a saying we had in the military: slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
I love that. I love that.
Usually that's what in businesses you don't have, because people just want to be as fast as possible. Hustle, hustle, hustle. And then it usually doesn't work, unfortunately.
Wow. In your process, how are you figuring out right now, like, the best clients for you? Like, how do you analyze it, or how do you make sure that you're getting the people that align the best with you, so you're not in a business as a CFO or fractional CFO and in the wrong type of business?
So, well, what my I help statement, right, is I do service-based providers, and I need them to be either online, because I don't do on-site work, right? That's the first one. And then I get them on a call. So usually that's going to be a 30-minute consultation. So I offer a free consultation for everybody. And then when we're talking, like, I can just then understand and see, am I even going to be able to work with this person? Because the first thing is, we need to have at least good enough matching personalities so that we can work together. And then when I kind of see that it's the case, I will then offer them an operations audit, which is a really absurdly small price for 2 hours of consulting and an operational audit and stuff. And then I will also see where their business is when they answer the questions and when I ask them. And at that point, I can say, hey, we can work together long-term in a fractional way, in a retainer way, or I can tell them, hey, we're probably not going to be a fit. And, I can suggest some other people that may be a better fit for you, but we won't be able to work. And kind of like, this is my process at the moment on how do I make sure that I actually work with the right people, and also the ones that I want to work with.
Well, that is it. And for other business owners out there that may not be in the same kind of field, if they want to kind of get a sense of who their ideal client is or who they should be working with, do you have any tips for them to be able to identify who that might be, or how they could find them?
Yeah. So the first one is, hopefully every business owner has, is what's your service offer is, and who do you offer that service for? That, I think, is like the basics, right? And then just go and see what kind of service and offer are you providing. And then I would just say, who do you want to work with? Like, ask yourself, do I want to work with X person, with Y person that's probably connected to you on LinkedIn or something like that? Do I want to work with this kind of person? And if you're rejecting it like right away, like, hey, I don't want to work with this person, then it's probably not your person, right? So this is how I kind of do it, right? Like, this is why I have the 30-minute conversations and all of that, and like just that small amount of well, quite a bit of touch points that I have. But if you want to do a more scientific approach, just offer people like a conversation. Hey, I'm going to give you a 15-minute consult, 30-minute consult. Since we're talking more about service-based, hey, just talk with them. Did I help them? Do they feel like, have I helped them with my offer or similar, right? And then just see, hey, maybe I need to tweak it a little bit. Maybe I don't want to work with. So this is my kind of like third or fourth iteration on what I'm doing at the moment. And it's actually the first time that I feel that my whole body is like aligned with what I want to do. Right. So because I'm also a certified brain coach and all of that, like my head, heart, and gut, when they're all aligned, that means I'm doing something right. And this is what it means for me doing something right, because they're all aligned. And I love the people that I'm working with, that I'm still going to be working with. Like, I know right away, if all of those three are not aligned, I will not work with that person, whatever opportunity they may be. So this is kind of like my long-worded advice.
Oh, no, but I love that. I love that you said that. If your head, heart, and gut aren't aligned, because a lot of the time, sometimes you'll take on clients that you know, or you get that inkling, that may not be the right fit, but you still go ahead and you're like, but you know what? I can help them. Yeah. If you're not aligned, then it's not even worth it, because it's going to be more pain in the long run.
For both of you, I always say it like this, like, if you're not aligned, yes, I know I can help people. I think I would have been able to help like 5 or 10 extra clients, but I don't want to work with them because something is not aligned with us. And not only I will be suffering, but they are also going to be suffering. And in some way or another, probably also the product or the service that you're providing is not going to be as high of quality. And then you have to ask yourself, are you really strapped for that cash or for that opportunity to get a few extra $1,000 to then maybe sacrifice your good name, what you're doing, and maybe that person is going to be angry at you because you didn't provide them what you wanted them to provide. And they're just going to be like, hey, Blaž is a horrible operations person. He didn't do anything for me. And I don't want to do that. That's why I just like to work with less people and less companies and actually give them the results, right? I will think about scaling later, because that's most of the time it's like, oh, but I can't scale if I work on a fractional point, right? It's like, cool. When that is about to come, when I'm going to be too inundated, I'm going to have too many clients, then I'm going to be thinking about, how can I scale all of this? How can I improve myself? How can I automate that? So yeah.
I love that, though, that you're actually sitting and taking time. And a lot of owners don't look at it that way, because we live in the society where it's just like, oh yeah, I scaled my business to XYZ in X days, which is never usually the case, right? But I like that you look on it and say, it has to feel right. The time has to be right before I'm even thinking about the next step and to scale.
I did try and do that at the beginning, because I had like some, I would say, not good guidance and not good coaching. It's like, yeah, just scale to 10K and then you're going to get to 100K per month and all of that. But in the end, that felt so fake for me and I wasn't ready. And it's like, I would rather have my personal sanity and mental health. And I can work only, because one of the things that I do, I will not work more than 8 hours a day. Like, that is one of the
boundaries,
commitments that I made to myself. Yeah. That I may work if it's necessary, but then I will not work for a day or two afterwards, and I will find somewhere so that I work max 40 hours a week. What does that mean? Yes, I'm not going to scale that fast. That's probably not possible if I'm just working that little, but I'm way happier and way more content with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
Oh, I love that. I love that you said that. I love that you said that, because again, that's one of the things that I think is missing from conversations online. Yes, you can scale. Yes, you can put things in place to scale, but are you going to be happy when you're working nonstop?
Yeah.
And I don't think enough business owners sit down and take the time to even analyze, like, is this leap going to make me happy in the long run? And what am I sacrificing to get that?
Yep. Because at the moment, I don't want to be sacrificing me working from morning till late at night just so that I can say, hey, I got to 1 million in revenue in less than a year, and like tell everybody on LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, like, hey, this business owner, like, I scaled from 0 to 7 figures within a year. Oh, watch how I did it. Perfect. There's going to be some people that are going to be doing this. But for me at the moment, I'm completely okay with just doing 5, 10K per month. And then if I want to, I'm going to scale more, of course, if I want to. But I'm completely happy and content with that, and having my free time that I can just go and walk like 50 meters away into the woods and just relax and enjoy my afternoons off.
Yeah. And even to that point, a lot of business owners that have companies that are making millions aren't making $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
And that is the reality of it. When you're in your business, no one actually takes into account, yes, the business may be making that. That doesn't mean the owner is making that. That's not the two aren't the same.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is one of the things that I've heard a lot of times, but like then I was listening to a video on YouTube, and the person was like, we are not looking at the correct number. We're always looking at revenue. So a company that is making $1 million per year, but has only 10% of profits, is way worse off than a company that's making 100,000 a year, but has 80% profits. And that company that's making 100,000, I can guarantee you, is way more sustainable than the one that's that. And this is where I think the conversation should go into profitability and more of, again, happiness. And then, can you live the life that you want? And what life do you want to live? If you're okay with working day in, day out, that some people are and some business owners are, amazing, great job. I don't envy you, but if you're happy with this, I'm happy for you. For me, I'd rather be making 2K per month, 3K per month. Where I live, that's way more than enough. And be happy with my afternoons off and going into the nature on the weekends, not caring that on Saturdays and Sundays, nobody's going to call me and nobody's going to have an emergency, because those are my boundaries. Like I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays unless we specify it before.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. In my past life, boundaries was a really huge deal for me. Like I didn't have boundaries, and raising kids and didn't have boundaries, and I worked all the time. And it's not until I realized, you know what, you have to have boundaries, because if you don't set them, there's nothing for someone to respect if they don't know. If you don't have them, if you don't set them.
Yeah. So, and especially like the thing, like when we're talking about business owners, right? Why did you become a business owner? You became one to have freedom, right? And if you're working from morning till nighttime, you don't have a business. You have a high-paying job, and high-stress job. And the jury is still out on high-paying. So you have to know what you want, because if you're just working, like you said, like, and I was the same person, morning till nighttime. I was working for somebody else. And it was like, no, I don't want to do that, because first I'm making somebody else rich and I'm miserable, because somebody's going to be calling me at 11 p.m. in the evening, which had happened before. It's like, oh, Blaž, we have an emergency. Can you hop on Zoom? Can you hop on your laptop and fix that? It's like, no, I don't want to. I want to go to bed. But I couldn't do anything because I was an employee, and that was kind of like the boundaries that I set for myself.
And that's why it's that, going back to exactly what we said at the beginning of the conversation, becoming very clear on what it is that you want in a business, what you're looking for, what you're hoping to get out of it, is extremely huge, because it's going to determine the type of life you're going to live.
Exactly. And this is what you need to, like, every single one of us needs to think about, what do we want from this life? Because in the end, we may think, hey, we're still young, right? But like in 30, 40 years, if you're going to be miserable with what you've built, then that life is, well, it's not completely over, but it's going to pass you by so fast. And just, if you want to work all the time, that's amazing. Yeah, as I said, like, I love you for it. But the one thing that is, don't think that you need to do what others tell you to. And this is where we also come into values. What are your actual values, not what are the values of your society and everybody else around you, your parents and everything else, and whoever else that's pushing you to do something, right? What do you want from your life? And that's what we were talking about. Then the vision comes after that, and what you want in 5, 10, 15 years, or what legacy do you want to live behind when you're on your deathbed, pretty much. And we went to that place. Okay.
No, but you know what? It's true. It's true. You know, you have to know what kind of, there's so many aspects of it, right? You have to know what kind of business you want, what kind of legacy you want. You know, there's so many different aspects. And again, it all boils down to being clear. If I know we've given a lot of pointers to our audience, but if you had to leave them today with 3 things that you think are extremely critical, what are those three things?
Yeah, if we're talking about business, it have a customer journey, client journey, so that you know exactly who your clients are and in what kind of process do you provide them, what service you provide them, and that you know where each of your clients are in that journey at any given time. Then next one, know who you are and what you want from your business, and why are you even in the business. Have that clear. Whatever you come up with, it's great, right? And then the last one is, have fun. Business isn't supposed to be just serious and all. You can laugh, you can joke, and we're here. We're building the business to enjoy ourselves, have fun, and live a fulfilling life. Don't be so serious.
Awesome. Where can our listeners find you?
Yes, so they can find me on LinkedIn. That's where I'm the most present, but also they can also find me and schedule a 30-minute free consultation, and we can talk about their business. And what I can guarantee out of that one is that they're going to have one action item or to-do list when they get off my call, pretty much. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today, Blaž. Like, it was a pleasure having you.
Same here.
Awesome.